Hello friends. So in last class we have discussed introduction to SOT. We have also attempted the types of SOTs and try to understand the failure of SOT also. Let me revise few topics. So these were the major topics of study. I'm just keeping this lecture plans and everything. So here we have discussed the definition of SOT and here the practical application of the SOT also. This is also application part. Then we have discussed the type of shafts: axle, spindle, counter shaft, line shafts, spline, and transmission shafts. I'm just skipping this type of shafts. Let me focus on this forces acting on the shaft because the next topic is somewhat related to this. So for this particular example here, you can see there is a gear. The shaft is supporting this gear. Gear is obviously rotating, so shaft is also rotating. Now shaft is supported by means of this bearing. So ultimately all loads will be transferred to this bearing. Now if we consider this as a gear and its own weight, then gears, because of this gear weight, there will be always a vertical downward load, which we call it as a transverse load, vertically downward due to weight of the gear. If it is a case of the pulley instead of this gear, then pulley has again the bill in maybe in vertically downward or vertically horizontally oriented. Then also because of this pulley force, pulley tension, okay, there will be one force which can also be considered as a transverse load. Now to oppose this transverse loads, definitely all loads will be transferred to bearings, so bearing will have a reaction. So these are transverse reaction, and because of this transverse load, the shaft will try to bend, and this is the bending failure of the shaft, which is possible because of this transverse load. Now as shaft is a rotating member, then this shaft can subject to twisting. Okay, so twisting is also very well known concept. This is twisting. When shaft subjects to this twisting load, it can have a phenomena of torsion. Now additionally, other than this transverse load and the twisting load, it can have an axial thrust also. Now this axial thrust is related to the bearing actually. If your bearing is a cylindrical or tapered, then along the periphery there can be a vertical transverse reaction as well as axial thrust exists. So this type of forces act on the shaft. Now when we understand, it can have bending, it can have twisting, or in some configuration it can have bending as well as twisting, means combined loading. So when shaft try to rotate, definitely its deflection along the cross section is also play a important role. Thus we call it as a rigidity of the shaft. Theta in T by J is equal to tau by R g theta by L. The theta will play a role over here when we consider this case. Okay. Now let me shift to directly the stresses in shaft. So this shear stress due to obviously transmission of torque. Now shear stress you can understand this is related to torsional load or torsional stresses. The torsional stresses will give us a shear stress. Bending stress is obviously given by bending force. This given by bending force means the torsional load which act due to gear, pulley or its weight of the shaft. And the third one is stresses due to combined torsional and bending, means both will act together. So these are the three types of stresses possible when we say design of shaft. Now, basically design of shaft will divide into two forms. Okay, one is design based on strength, another one is design based on rigidity. Now this design based on strength means sigma. The stress value will play a role, and design based on rigidity means the theta value will play a role. Let us try to discuss more. So strength, the failure you can understand, this is because of the twisting when shafts try to rotate. And because of the twisting failure or torsional shear, this type of failure pattern will be introduced. You can understand over here also there is a failure, this is a crack, okay, which will induce due to torsion again. Okay, so these two failures are the part of strength. Sometimes if it subjects to because of the theta or because of the deflection, okay, the rigidity will play into both. So here when we talk about design based on strength, as we discussed, stress will be a major part. So we'll have four cases. The case one, when shaft subjects to only twisting moment in torque only. In second case, shaft subjects to bending only. In third case, shaft subjects to combined bending and twisting. And the fourth one is shaft subjects to axial loads in addition to bending and twisting. So here in your syllabus you have till 1 to 3. Again, we are not considering the failures due to fatigue. We are not considering the failures due to vibration. So this is the topics of study. Let us try to understand the first case where shaft subjects to twisting moments only. You all have studied this case in strength of material, where you all have used T by J is equal to tau by R equation. We know that T is equal to twisting moment acting upon the shaft. J is the polar moment of inertia of the shaft about the axis of rotation. Tau is the torsional shear stress, and R is the distance from the neutral axis of the outer side. So it is D by 2, as it is a circular cross section, that's why it should be D by 2. If it is a solid shaft, then J is very well known, pi by 32 into d raised to 4. So if I keep this value J is equal to pi by 32 into d raised to 4 into this equation, again keeping R is equal to d by 2, we will get this equation of torque. T is equal to pi by 16 tau into d cube. This is the diameter of round solid shaft. So here, if the shaft material is specified, then automatically the allowable shear stress value will be decided, means tau value will be decided. And if the outer forces are given, means torque is given, then you can calculate the value of diameter. This particular equation is only applicable when shaft subject to twisting moment only. Now the second question will comes into picture over here. If shaft is say hollow, then for hollow shaft what should be done? So obviously its polar moment of inertia will change. Capital J is equal to pi by 32 d outer raised to 4 minus d inner raised to 4. Because d outer and d inner are outside and inside diameter of the shaft, and R is equal to d O by 2. Now let us try to keep this value into the equation T by J is equal to tau by R. So ultimately we can get this T is equal to pi by 16 tau d O raised to 4 minus d R raised to 4 divided by T. Here keeping this d O raised to 4 common and dO outside, so that's why this is dO raised to 4 by dO 1 minus di by dO raised to 4. The overall equation is converted to pi by 16 tau dO cube in bracket 1 minus k raised to 4. This k is defined is the relationship between the inner and the outer, or inside diameter and outside diameter, because sometimes in industry they will directly provide the ratios. Okay, say inner diameter by outer diameter is something, some ratio. That's why sometimes this equation is also useful. However, you can remember the initial equation T is equal to T by J is equal to tau by R. Only the J value will be changed. Again, the calculation of the J is also very well known to you all. Fine. Now, here, because T by J is equal to tau by R, we need to calculate the value of torque. So, if it is a case of power transmission, definitely there is the equation of power 2 pi N T by 60, where T is the twisting moment, means torque. It is in Newton meter and N is the in RPM. So if power is given to you, definitely you can calculate the value of torque. So this is torque is equal to P into 60 divided by 2 pi N. Again, known equation. If it is a case of belt drive, then twisting moment T is equal to T1 minus T2 into R. T1 means tension in the tight side and T2 means tension in the slack side, and R is the radius of the pulley. You might have studied this particular equation in elements of mechanical engineering or maybe in the strength of material subjects. That's why I am not discussing right now how this particular equation is derived. But this is considering this is a known equation. Let us try to discuss one example. So here, a line shaft rotating at 200 rpm is to transmit 20 kilowatt power. The shaft may be assumed to be made of mild steel with an allowable shear stress of 42 megapascal. Determine the diameter of shaft, neglecting the bending moment of the shaft. See, we have to neglect the bending moment of the shaft. That means this is a pure torsional case. In shaft subjects take to twisting only. So, known equation which is T by J is equal to tau by R. This particular equation will be applicable. Again, what is given to us? The RPM, N is equal to 200 RPM, power is equal to 20 kilonewton, and allowable shear stress is equal to 42 megapascal. So tau is also given. So N, P, and tau is given. So as power is known to you and N is known to you, we can apply this. This is again P is equal to 2 pi N T by 60, normal relationship. From this relationship, we can calculate the torque. Now torque we are getting as 955 into 10 raised to 3 Newton into M. Now if you put this value torque into the equation T by J is equal to R, this equation we have already discussed. This is a modified form of T by J is equal to tau by R, where R is equal to D by 2 and J is equal to pi by 32 D raised to 4. So if you put these values together, then tau is already known to you, which is 42 megapascal, and torque we have calculated. So from this equation, the diameter we are getting it to be 48.7 mm. You can take it either 49 or 50 mm. So for this type of configuration where shaft needs to transfer 20 kilowatt power with the RPM 200 with allowable stress as 42 megapascal, the diameter of the shaft should be 50 mm at least. So this is the example is related to pure torsion. Similarly, there is a second question. Okay, in second question, what is given? Find the diameter of a solid shaft to transmit 20 kilowatt at 200 rpm. The ultimate shear stress for the steel may be taken as 360 megapascal and a factor of safety as 8. If hollow shaft is to be used in place of solid shaft, find the inside and outside diameter when the ratio of inside to outside diameter is 0.5. So, let us start with first case 1. In case 1, what is given to us? 20 kilowatt power, RPM is 200 RPM. The ultimate shear stress for the steel may be taken as 360 megapascal and factor of safety is 8. So first step should be the calculation of allowable stress. So the allowable stress is equal to ultimate divided by factor of safety. So that's why it should be 360 divided by 8, 45 Newton per mm. Now if I want to calculate the diameter, because ultimately we need to find the diameter of a solid shaft. Considering the whole example as a solid shaft, okay, D is the diameter of the shaft, and T is equal to P into 60. Again, the power is equal to 2 pi T by 60. So from this equation, we can calculate the torque. The torque we are getting it to be 955 to 10 to 3 Newton mm. And if we put this torque into the T by J is equal to tau by R, we are getting the value of diameter as 50 mm. So this question is similar to the last question which we have discussed. Now the next phase is, if a hollow shaft is to be used in place of solid shaft, we have to replace the hollow shaft with a solid shaft with a hollow shaft. And definitely what will be the change? The change is with respect to polar moment of inertia. Right. Now for the hollow shaft, we know that our equation is T is equal to pi by 16 into tau dO raised to the cube 1 minus k raised to 4. So torque, keeping torque same, okay, again the value of k is given to us, the ratio is 0.5 which is given to us, only the unknown quantity is T outer. So from this, the outer diameter is 50 mm is calculated and the inner diameter is 25 mm is calculated. So with the same type of torque transmission, if you want to use solid shaft, then the diameter of the solid shaft should be 50 mm. Again, if you want to use the hollow shaft, then the outer diameter is 50 mm and the inner diameter is 25 mm.